Welcome everyone to the Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton meeting held this Wednesday, November the 16th. Thank you. Today, as you know, I'm Louise, the president of the club. We thank you for joining us today and viewing this presentation via our website. Special acknowledgement for those who are here for the first time and the friends of WCCH. We recognize and acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon, Wampong Agreement. Might we not only learn about the Indigenous people of Canada, but from them. The WCCH is striving to continue to be a group of people concerned about our issues that affect women, educating and advocating for those issues in our community. We ask you to take this time to visit our website where you can learn further information and our history of the club. Today, we have as our guest and presenting Miss Isas Jimenez. I do apologize for the incorrect pronunciation, but
Isas Jimenez.
Jimenez, thank you. She is with Scotiabank as a small business advisor. She's been in the finance industry for the past since the age of 21. We're not going to ask her age at all. At this time, I take the opportunity of having her begin the presentation. Isas, thank you for being with us today. We look forward to hearing your presentation and how it can benefit women here in Canada.
Lois, thank you so much. I want to just thank each and every one of you and the Women's Canadian Club of Hamilton. It's my pleasure to be here today. I've learned a little bit about this group and went online and just kind of looked at the backstory. And I'm very passionate about women's issues, especially when it comes to entrepreneurial. I myself, come from a line of entrepreneurial women. My background, I was born in El Salvador. We came to Canada when I was about 6 years old. My mother was an accountant back home, but on the side, she had her little hustle, right? Like as we all do, right? So she had her Alouette business. And with that business, she was able to provide, extra things for her family. So entrepreneurship is something that I am very passionate about because I see how anyone can really take something and grow from that. Whether you're an immigrant or whether you're born in Canada, and especially for women, I think it really does provide a lot of confidence for them. So thank you again for having me speak today. So today we're going to actually talk about the Scotiabank Women's Initiative, which is a program that Scotiabank has launched. I myself am a small business advisor. I work out of the Queenston and Nash branch here in Stony Creek. That's where I am today. Even though I'd love to be in San Francisco, that's really not my view out of my window. But so at the end, I will have a question and answer period. So feel free to ask any questions. I'm just going to go through some information, and at the end, we can kind of dissect and go through those questions as well. Okay. So just to talk a little bit about the initiative, I'm going to just start off, and I'm going to let me know if you guys can see this or not, because I know that we did a little run through, but just in case. Is that okay?
No.
We good? Yes? Okay, great. Okay, so like I said, the Scotiabank Women's Initiative is a program geared specifically to women entrepreneurs.
Lisa, sorry,
Um, yeah.
we cannot see the presentation. Lee, can you give her access?
I don't have anything here. Oh,
Perfect.
there you are.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Okay,
can see it now.
perfect.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Great. No, thank you. So the Scotiabank Women's Initiative is a program that we have designed to help increase the economic and professional opportunities for all women and non-binary people to be successful now and in the future. So really what we have seen in the past, and it's something that Scotiabank is working hard to change, is a more biased opinion when it comes to our male counterparts and getting funding for their businesses. So through the Women's Initiative, we hope to change that and also provide mentorship and education to women and non-binary people. It's really a holistic advisory service and mentorship all in one. So I'm going to just go ahead here and talk a little bit more about that. But so the program is designed for women and again non-binary people. To be part of the program, it's really to break down the barriers and increase economic and professional opportunities for women. So we have live events, workshops, boot camps, self-serve articles and podcasts are all available on our website. It gives women the access to resources to advance their careers and to elevate skills and financial confidence. So a lot of the time, sometimes women don't know where to go or feel sometimes intimidated because of they're new into the industry. Again, there's been a lot of bias in regards to it being a more male dominated industry with entrepreneurship. So this is a one-stop shop really for women to have a go-to safe space where they can find the resources and access to that additional information. Oh, I think one sec here. So just let me go take one step back here. So we have the research that we have done is to that supports the access to capital is not equal for all entrepreneurs. And again, that's really speaks to the point of the biased opinion that sometimes women may not have, the time because we're mothers. That's something that's been placed on us by society. Oh, they don't have the time. They may not have the level of commitment. They're not as ambitious. They're not as aggressive as you need to be in small business. Where we actually see a lot of the opposite. Women are very successful when it comes to small business. And that's why, the SWI commitment is to provide equal access to capital and tailored solutions for women owned and led businesses and ECG focused services. Sorry, I'm just getting interrupted here 1 second. So with that being said, we on the Scotiabank Women's Initiative do have various mentorship programs. So when a woman signs up or when a female entrepreneur signs up, they're given access to a plethora of information. So this is just some examples of some of the topics that we've covered. For example, are you losing sleep over rising inflation? How is that going to be affecting your business? The Scotiabank Women Initiative masterclasses. We had Taylor Lindsay Noel. She's such an inspirational story. If you do have, I believe this one's particularly is still recorded. If you do have time, I would highly recommend this. I found her to be super inspirational. Even just to read her bio and her background was amazing. So these masterclass series really do open it up so that you have access to a very high level of entrepreneurs that have been on the ground and have started businesses and know what it takes to, on the daily grind. So that's just a little bit of what is available as a resource to women under the Scotiabank Women's Initiative platform. So now The program, again, is designed for women. It's designed to be a holistic advisory service which provides some mentorship. So the connection and the network aspect of this, I believe, is really huge for small businesses, is particularly for women, to find leaders in small business that you can connect with as a growing small business, particularly in a female small business, sometimes has been lacking. And from what I know, even on a personal level, when you have that right mentorship in place, it really can propel your career or propel your business to another level. So, it provides exclusive women-centric advisory service and mentorship opportunities to discuss challenges and barriers to women's advancement, your business, complex business programs, and more to help spark new ideas and solutions that will support growth. So with this, you get the one-on-one support, and I think this is really an invaluable aspect of that. So that real mentorship program. So essentially, what happens is you click and receive the invite to register for the Scotiabank Women's Initiative. You complete the registration form, complete your profile to get paired with a mentor, and then you receive 3 mentor recommendations. So you can kind of get an idea as to who might be a good fit for you in your inbox, and you can review and rank them essentially. Once your preferred mentor has confirmed, you book your session. So you actually have access again, to these highly skilled entrepreneurial women who have been in your shoes. And I don't think there is any other program that I'm aware of out there right now that has this one-on-one mentorship like the Scotiabank Women's Initiative does. So what we can offer as far as what products and services are offered to through the women's initiatives is operating accounts, so your day-to-day business transactions, credit cards for business, cash management service. So it's really important, like for example, the operations of a business, the day ins and day outs, that would be like your check, your banking accounts and that sort of thing, your credit cards. With the Small Women's Initiative, there is actually a fund reserve for women entrepreneurs, to for Scotiabank to be lending out. So my role as a small business advisor, when a woman entrepreneur comes into my office, or someone who identifies as female, um, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that they own the business. They can be a director. So it just has to be women led or women run. It opens up, this extra lending facility that we've allocated to this particular program. And I'm always very excited to talk one-on-one with the female entrepreneurs and let them know about this program, because like I said before, I really haven't seen anything else out there like this that has identified and done something about the need that's currently in place, with female entrepreneurs. There was, I've, to date myself now, I've over 20 years of financial services experience. My husband himself is a small business owner. I am part of that business. So I help support that. So I really truly do understand the daily struggles, especially within the last 3 years, of what entrepreneurs have gone through. And this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I don't know of another segment or industry in our market that has the grit and the grind that our small businesses go through on the daily. And especially women having to, constantly prove themselves. And we wear so many different hats as females. We're mothers and we're wives and we're business owners and we're employees. And so I think the fact that we can multitask is amazing, but sometimes we lack the support and the resources to move forward. So I really do have to commend Scotiabank in identifying that need and actually doing something about it. Okay, so um, again, this is something that I wholeheartedly believe in. So, we do everything from your day-to-day accounts, and essentially whom you would be dealing with would be a small business advisor like myself, who can kind of help steer you in the right direction. And, if you need to make up a business plan and don't know where to start, Scotiabank in general is, in my opinion, the best bank to bank with when it comes to small business because of our tools and our resources. And on top of that, the products that we offer for entrepreneurs. And now that we have the Women's Initiative, it just takes it to a whole other level. And of course, we have our Advice Plus for Business, which is a tool that we utilize here as small business advisors to identify any gaps that we would see within your business, right? So we can help to kind of close those gaps, and provide the support that businesses really do need. So that with that being said, I just wanted to thank everyone and just open it up for a quick Q&A session. If there's anything that you guys, need a little bit more elaboration on or any particular questions, please feel free to ask away.
Okay, I'm gonna, oh, sorry. I'm gonna ask a question. I think there's a few people here who have been muted along the way. So if they need to speak, I hope they know how to unmute themselves. My question is just, is there a specific size to the business that you're extending this program to? Are you supposing that these businesses have employees, or could it be like a one-woman show?
That's a good question. So it's actually opened up to anyone. It can be even a sole proprietor, which would be the one woman show, right?
Okay.
So I do deal with a lot of, women that have set up a side business that may not necessarily be their full, time job at the moment, but they're working towards that. So yes, it's opened up to anyone really, and there isn't a size limit at all.
Jen?
I just wish to acknowledge one of the amazing women entrepreneurs in the city, one of the first to set up her own real estate agency, and who's given so much back to her community, but also has helped a lot of women, as Judy Marcel, absolutely outstanding woman, absolutely outstanding. There's no question.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, she is.
Indeed,
Actually,
indeed.
Judy and I met a while ago. She may not remember me because I'm sure she meets so many different people. But my husband Ivano literally fell in love with her. We actually had lunch with Judy one time. My husband is, involved in real estate investing and whatnot. But we did have a lunch one time, and I was mesmerized with her as well. So it's good to see you again, Judy.
You make my head
However,
swell.
do you have a question? When you are determined, and thank you for doing this. I actually have found a lot of ageism in that it seems like I'm over the age of 65, and most of you know what I've done in this community. It's like I'd lost my brain, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? People are questioning. And I have to say to you, I thank you for doing this. A lot of the women immigrants that I have worked with coming into Hamilton have set up and run specifically excellent small businesses. So I'm glad you're there to support. I am wondering, therefore, what are your numbers? Are you finding, how are you getting that information out? Because there are a lot of women who have attempted to set up their own market, and we were talking about some of them going to craft shows, etc. But it's to get the funding. So I just thought if you could talk a little about that. But thank you, and thank you, Women's Canadian Club. Your topics are always dead on. Well done. I'm going on mute now.
Well, thank you for that wonderful, wonderful recommendation, Jen. Really appreciate it. And I thoroughly enjoy all of your company when I'd rather be in person, but it's okay. Understood.
So Jen, just to talk a little bit about, the funding and what we're actually doing. So we, as Scotia Bank as a whole, we were recently involved in a National Women's Show in Toronto. So we held a bit of a sponsorship there, which I believe in that there's a walkthrough about 5,000 women. Or women entrepreneurs, or 5,000 people that go through those doors. So that's definitely one big trade that we did just about 2 weeks ago. I think that was November 6th or 7th. I can't remember the exact date, but that was a big hit. So what we are actually trying to do now is things like this, getting back into the community, in front of different community groups, women's groups, men's groups that are supportive of women entrepreneurs and women in general. So a lot of community involvement, right? So volunteering for different, like for myself, I every year, I deal with the interval house. So go in there because I know that's something. First of all, it's near and dear in my heart personally, but also there are a lot of immigrant women. There are a lot of women that have been in abusive situations, and I really truly believe that starting something can be as simple as baking cookies, right? So it really is a way for women to find their way out of a certain situation, sometimes by starting the business. What we do here at the branch is when a woman comes in, I identify it and I speak to them about the Women's Initiative. We have a special program where I can put through the applications under that band or that branding of the Scotia Women's Initiative. That's not to say that every woman that comes through is going to be approved, but we will certainly look for and try and identify opportunities where we can help to build those business. Oftentimes, a lot of small businesses, young entrepreneurs don't know the first thing about building, where do I get a business plan? How do I do a business plan, right? So we have the resources on our small business website that I can direct them to, that has a template for them to start building a business plan. So then I can then take that, dissect it, and maybe make it a little bit more beefy. So then I can submit those applications and see what they're looking for essentially. So I hope that answers the question.
Wonderful. That's great support, because I've met many along my way over the years in different initiatives I've done, and that's definitely an area that's that step missing, providing that guidance to get them to the next level. And if they're not at that level at the time, they can see what is needed and revisit and then come back again more prepared. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Liz, I think that's an important thing, right? Because, as you grow, you need that education, right? And really also that's what the Women's Initiative is trying to get out there to the entrepreneur segment of the market, is the education of, okay, where do I start? What do I do? I've walked somebody through how to actually register their business online. Step, if you want to register a trade name, where do you go? How do you do it? You set up this account. Those are all little things that I have the knowledge to, and a lot of the mentors have that knowledge, that we can provide that initial support as well.
Any further questions?
I ask one more question. I am finding a lot of seniors and senior women with the increase in grocery prices and so on. And many of you know my passion is try to help people raised out of poverty because I went to school many days and we didn't have any food. What are you doing about internet access? You mentioned going online. Some of the women, even in the community I live with, when they have to give up something to pay for groceries, are giving up internet access. Thankfully, our Hamilton Public Library is excellent. They have access. You mentioned using the internet and setting up business and stuff. I'm just thought I would mention my concerns. Not everybody can afford internet access. So how's the recommendation around that? And thank you again, a great presentation.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. That's really, you know what, a really good point. A funny story, I am probably not the best IT person. You know, like I'm a paper girl still. I try not to be because of the environment and conscious of that. And I think that's the push to be more online and to be paperless society. But saying that, I recognize that there is a segment of, you know, and I can even sometimes count myself in that, where your go-to is not online and sometimes a paper-based. So if someone were to come in here and they would say, you know what, I don't really have a lot of access to internet, I can certainly print out forms and I can certainly show you and walk you through paper-based applications and that sort of thing, right? I mean, any application that we would do here at the branch would be done by us, would be really our resource. But everything that we do provide online, you can come into a branch and we can print it for you, right? Like the business plan, I can go on, I can print it off, and it's a very simple walkthrough, and you can do it handwritten with a paper and a pen, right? So it's just a matter of communicating that. I wasn't able to actually download a specific app onto my phone as an employee because my phone was outdated and I hadn't updated my phone, right? So here I am trying to get this app and everybody's got it. And I'm like, well, I can't do what you're asking me because I don't have this app. So I can relate. I can relate to that. So I mean, and not everyone's going to be able to go out and get a new phone, you know, just to download an app or to go online or something of that nature. But you hit it the nail on the head. I remember when I was doing a lot of my courses and I didn't have access to a computer at home, I would go on my lunch break and I'd go to the library, right?
Yeah.
And I'd use the library and I'd print out, you know, a chapter at a time and I'd take it home and I'd study, right? So there's workarounds. Is a little bit more inconvenient, yes. Is it a privilege to have access to internet? Yes, and it's a privilege to have access to a phone, and I am very aware of it because I've lived the other side of that, right? But there are always workarounds, and truly, I tell you, if someone were to come in here and say, I need help, I don't have access to internet, but you know, I'm a great baker and I have this cookie, you know, shop that I want to set up and I want to start selling it, you know, how can I get access to, you know, a $500 card, or how can I get access to some money so that I can do that? I can help walk you through that for sure. Yeah.
Christina,
How can I
Yeah.
get my picture back?
it's there. We can see you.
I'm sorry?
We can see you.
No, but I'm being photographed in my computer room instead of along the frame of the picture.
I think she means background. You want her back or your background to be different? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's like you're in the room with me instead of just my photograph on the screen.
Oh,
So I think it's how
I
she's
think
doing it.
it's the view that you've selected on your
Yeah,
on your own computer screen that does that. I think something's changed there.
yeah. It's
We
set
like
up
to see you,
as
Pat.
gallery.
I'm sorry?
We like to see you.
Christina,
Yeah, this
and
has never happened before.
yeah, after the
Yes.
meeting, we can assist you on that. Christina, any questions?
No, but not for myself, but for others that I know. As a matter of fact, who wondered about starting a business. And of course, these days, easier because of internet to start at home. But I wonder if a lovely speaker would perhaps just enlarge a little bit on the benefits of starting your business at home, not worrying about getting another business location immediately, because there are perks and write-offs that you can use to keep your business at home. When it's just one or two people. So I wonder if our speaker could perhaps touch on that because some people I think would be interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for that. No, and that's a great question. So is a disclaimer, of course, I'm not an accountant, right? So this is all general information, but you hit the nail on the head there with starting your home business. I mean, you're not having the overhead, first of all, right? You're having the tax deductions now, depending on what kind of business structure you actually wanted to have. So there's two different ways to go here, right? And typically, if you're going to be running on your business, like in starting a small business or something to do with crafts of that nature, you're going to start with either a sole proprietorship, which is essentially you are the business, right? Or a partnership, which is essentially you and somebody else running this business, right? There are deductions, of course, for the space allocated within your home. Some, your depending on what you're using, your telephone, your internet. There's a certain percentage deductions that you can use as write-offs against the revenue that the business is generating. Um, so there are, I always tell people, small businesses, if you can start like baby steps, right? If you can start at home, selling cookies or whatever you're making, and then go from there and see where the business takes you, I think is always advisable, because you want to keep your costs as low as possible, and obviously your sales or your revenue as high as possible, especially the first 2 years, right? We always hear that 2-year mark when it comes to small businesses. Typically, if we're looking for larger loans and that sort of thing, we're looking for 2 years financials. We here at Scotiabank have the Start Right program, which is for essentially brand new entrepreneurs, brand new businesses that are coming in requesting credit. And in conjunction to that, the Scotia Women's Initiative, right, which has that allocation. But for those small businesses, keeping the business at home, working at home, keeping your costs minimal, taking advantage of all the deductions that you could working from your home. I always recommend to have a very good bookkeeper and to have a very good accountant. Those two people, along with an advisor, are going to really help you get your business off to a good start.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just
Oh,
wanted
you're
to
welcome.
mention, I sure wish you'd been around when I opened my business, because ladies, how it's changed in the last 25 years is absolutely incredible. I mean, I used to walk into various banks and make suggestions about business, and they looked at me like I had two heads. And so, who is going to manage your business? Do you have a guy there? Yeah, right. It was very difficult.
Yeah, you know what, Judy, and I'm glad that I spoke, we spoke a little bit about this earlier in the bias, really, with men. I started in the finance industry over 20 years ago, just a little pup, right? And I started as a teller, and there was always that notion, like a branch manager should be a male, and, you couldn't be this and you couldn't be that, right? So I'm really amazed at how far we've come, but I know we still have so much more ways to go. Um, and hopefully in my lifetime, I see it do, 360. I'm a mom of actually two boys. I wasn't blessed with the girl, but I have nieces who where, and I'm seeing them go to university. I'm seeing them do their little things on the side, making like necklaces and things. And very much, we'll look for young women to sort of mentor and to help along, because I know that I've had women who have been in my career very influential, and had they not seen in me what I potentially couldn't have seen at the time, I may not be where I am today, right?
Well, I think we certainly have an obligation to engage and encourage young women as we move forward, because as we start to think about getting out of business, we have to make sure that the legacy of challenge and change is appreciated and encouraged to move forward. I'm fortunate I have two very successful daughters, so you know what? Everybody has a different world, right? But I, like one of your speakers, grew up in poverty, so you know there's a certain, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? In
Drive.
need, yes, that moves you forward.
Well said, Judy. Well said.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No? Thanking Isis for being here with us today. We do appreciate your time. You are appreciated, and we look towards the future where we can collaborate with you and Scotiabank. Thank you so much. So
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Today's session is now ended, and we can